Welcome back to Network Africa. The United Nations is planning to redeploy some 300 peacekeepers to Central African Republic from a UN mission in Ivory Coast in a bid to boost security ahead of the country's planned December elections and a visit by Pope Francis. UN spokesman Stéphane Dujarric, the Senegalese troops from the UN Quick Reaction Force in Ivory Coast would be redeployed. Well, he said they will be redeployed as soon as possible for about 8 weeks in light of the ongoing tense security situation. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon will send a letter to the UN Security Council requesting approval for the move, while diplomats believe the council is likely to grant the request. Well, here is some good news from Guinea. The country has started counting down to its Ebola-free status after the last known Ebola patient was released from a treatment center in the capital, Conakry. A spokesman for Guinea's Ebola Coordination Unit said 2 tests on the patient, a baby, had been negative. Guinea will be declared officially free of Ebola if no new cases are reported in the next 6 weeks. The epidemic, which began in Guinea, has killed more than 11,000 people in West Africa, while neighboring Sierra Leone and Liberia have already been declared Ebola-free. And that's officially Network Africa today. Well, I asked you a question yesterday, and this is the question. What are your thoughts on African migrants who go through the horror of crossing over to Europe without any guarantee of a better life on the other side? Remember, I spoke to an African migrant on the show yesterday, and Denyefa Temile says, I think the migrants are making a really big mistake. And then Born to Rule says, Dean Chook's interview was an eye-opener. I hope others will learn from it. It was indeed an eye-opener. Now let me pose the question of the day. What would you do as a mother if you realized your baby was swapped at birth 5 years later? What would you do as a mother if you realized your baby was swapped at birth 5 years later? I also have another question. What are your thoughts on the Pretoria court ruling that says the swapped South African babies should not be returned to their biological parents? What are your thoughts on the Pretoria court ruling that says the swapped South African babies should not be returned to their biological parents? Now send your answers to Network Africa at channelstv.com and find me on Twitter at Adeshewa Josh. That's the program today. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Adeshewa Josh, and I'll see you tomorrow.